Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Eugen. In this one I have for you a preview of the British 1st Special Service Brigade, a new division available in the upcoming Men of Steel DLC. As a disclaimer, Eugen has given me free access to the DLC, so a big thanks to them. Also, please remember that this was recorded on a preview build and what you see may be subject to change. If you'd like to read the description on the right hand side, feel free to pause the video and take a look, but we're going to be jumping straight on in. Let's go into the Recon tab and see what we have. So, first of all, we have the Morris LRC. Makes a change from seeing a sidecar here. This is a questionable recon unit in terms of its effectiveness. It comes with a Bren and a Boys AT rifle. You do get 8 of them in Phase A though, for 15 points apiece, and they provide recon and radio. So they are able to be spread about. They are immune to light arms fire, unlike things like Jeeps and motorcycles. So in that way, they're actually more effective. Let's move on to the Commando Sniper. So now the British have a 2-man sniper team, very similar to the Taka Ampuja from the Finnish. We have the Commando Sniper, 2 Lee Enfields in this case. They are 2 vet, available 2 in A, 4 in B and 6 in C. They can come in with a 4 GPA, amphibious transport, or the Willys truck. They do get the Commando trait. Just a reminder, the Commando trait reduces the damage they take when they're within 100 meters of the enemy, and also reduces the amount of suppression they take at range, at any range. So they're a bit more resilient to suppression. And that's actually really nice for a sniper unit, particularly a 2-man sniper unit, as it allows them to be more accurate for longer when they are engaged themselves. Moving on, we have the Field Team 30AU. These guys come with 3 Lanchesters, 2 Thompson M1A1s, 2 Stens, and a Bren. So that is a solid amount of machine guns. We've got 7 there, plus the Bren, making an 8-man squad with Commando trait. And they have recon and radio. We've got 3 available in A, 6 available in B, and 9 available in C. They come in this transport, the C15TA, which is a nice unique transport, but I don't think it sticks around even though it has a recon trait there. Let's move on to the Recon Group 30AU. These guys are a 5-man squad with M1 carbine, 3 Lee Enfields, a Vickers K-gun, and the smoke grenades. 2 available in A, 4 available in B, and 6 available in C, forced to come in at 2 vet. They do come in with the Commando trait, recon radio of course. An interesting squad, maybe not as effective as the 8-man SMG squad, but still a decent recon squad, just lacks kind of terribly in availability. Then we have the Scouts. The Scouts, these are pretty standard, we've seen these boys before. 2 Stens, 2 Lee Enfields, Piat, availability 6 available in A, 9 available in C. They can be brought in with a universal carrier, if you like, but that does not have a recon on it, so it doesn't double up as extra recon units. The recon group here actually can also be brought in with the C15TA, so just bear that in mind. And then finally we have the Staghound, available in Phase A, B and C, 5, 9 and 18 availability. Quite a lot of availability in the late game, but going to have extremely limited effectiveness. 37mm gun, 70mm of penetration. The benefit of these Staghounds is that they are super fast and really good at transport sniping at the beginning of the game, and also taking on enemy armoured cars. So there you go, that's your option in the Recon tab. Let's move on to the Infantry tab. First of all, we have a card of Field Engineers. These are your classic 15.5-man Field Engineers. You're available 18 in B and 27 in C with no vet. Come in the Bedford truck. They have the 5 strength with the TNT. Good for kind of trading against enemy infantry that is also small squads, because they are really cheap. But moving on, we have the first of the Commando squads here. Commando 4 Assault. You get 8 of these in A, 16 in B. They come in at 1 vet. They are a 7 strength SMG squad, so 3 Stens, 4 Thompsons, and they also get the Willy Pete. The Willy Pete is the equivalent to like a Molotov in that it works the same way in the game. Obviously, in real life a Willy Pete is not the same as a Molotov, but in Steel Division they work the same way, in that they create flames under the enemy, they do a little bit of damage, force the enemy squad to move. And they have commando trait, so they're going to take less damage when they're engaged with these submachine guns, which is nice. Going to take less suppression at range. Pretty decent close range squad, to be honest. Then we have the engineer leader, same as before. 6 available in B, 9 available in C. Forced to come in at 1 vet, can be brought in with the carrier command. Just a universal carrier there with a radio in it. Doesn't actually get a radio in the transport in Steel Division 2, but I'm pretty sure the command carrier in real life would have had a radio. Regardless, carrier command, Willys truck are the options there, and it's another 5 strength squad with TNT. So good for trading, good for providing leadership in the mid to late game. Then we have Royal Marine Commando 45. These are a 11-man squad with 3 Thompson M1A1s, 7 Lee Enfields, a Bren and a Piat. You can get 9 in A and 18 in B at 1 vet. They can be brought in with the Duck. The Commando 4 can also be brought in with the Duck, so bear that in mind. And this is amphibious and has a decent speed. These are of course Commando trait, and the setup is okay. I mean, it's not great at close range. They're going to be relatively resilient because they have a commando trait, but they're not going to be able to dish out on that much damage. So this is just a glorified rifle with Piat, basically. Airborne leader available in Phase C. 4-man squad with Gammon bombs. Not the best leader in the world. Can only come in with the Willys truck. But maybe a late game choice. Raid trait does give it exceptional stealth, which means that it can keep itself alive by staying hidden, but doesn't have a smoke to smoke itself off, unfortunately. Then we have the Airborne Paras with Piat. These guys are a 10-man squad with 2 Stens, 6 Lee Enfields, 2 Brens, and the Piat. They have the Raider trait, which puts them to very good stealth. They are only available, however, in Phase C. So 18 available in C with 1 vet, and they come in with the CMP trucks. We have Commando 3. These guys are another line infantry squad with 2 Thompsons, 8 Lee Enfields, 2 Brens. So they double up on the machine guns, and they have a Boys AT rifle. 6 available in A, 12 available in B, 18 available in C at 1 vet. 13 strength squad with commando trait is pretty meaty, to be honest. Because they have more men and the commando trait, they're going to be surviving for a decent amount of time, so maybe a decent mid-range option. Next up, we have Commando 4 Demo. These guys are a 7-man flamer squad, which also have TNT. Now, I believe the only other squad that has both flamers and TNT in the game so far is the Italian Pionieri in the 4th Alpini. So the Ally is now going to get an equivalent, which is interesting. You can get 8 of these in Phase A or 16 in B at 1 vet. They can come in with the Duck, so they get that amphibious capability potential. The nice thing about the Duck as well is it's faster than the Bedford that would otherwise be their default transport. So you probably want to always bring them in the Duck when you can. But 3 Thompsons, 3 Lee Enfields, Flamethrower, TNT, Commando trait, going to make them really, really good at close range, of course. We have the Airborne Paras, which have been changed. So these are now upgraded in that they have 3 Stens, 5 Lee Enfields, a Bren, and now they come with a Sniper. So the Airborne Paras in this division, and also, of course, the 6th Airborne, have been upgraded. I believe the Airborne Paras show up in other divisions as well, but they now have a Lee Enfield in a 10 strength squad, which is actually really big. They have very good stealth because they're a raider, and this is actually going to be a really solid late game option that you can bring in at Phase C at 1 vet in those CMP trucks. CMP, nice truck because it has 80 km/h speed as opposed to the Bedford's 60 km/h speed. Next up we have the Assault Engineers. These are available with no vet, 12 in B, 18 in C. These are a pretty meaty squad in that they have 12 strength, 10 Lee Enfields, Bren, Flamethrower. So they're going to be good at close range because of that flamethrower, not necessarily because of their other weapons. And then a Piat. So kind of a jack of all trades kind of squad. It can put out fire at range with the Lee Enfields and the Brens. It can deal with stuff at close range due to the flamethrower, and it has an AT option. So actually a pretty well-rounded squad, but for 30 points actually quite expensive for the amount of damage you're probably going to be putting out with them. They also get the shock trait, which means they will receive less damage at close range. Again, it doesn't really match their weapons other than the flamethrower. So an interesting unit, but maybe one that's not as effective as it looks. Then we have Commando 10. This is a French unit. 3 Thompsons, 8 Lee Enfields, and 2 Vickers K guns. Actually, the Vickers Ks are pretty good apparently. I haven't managed to test them out much myself, but apparently they're pretty strong. And this is a 13 strength squad, so you've got a lot of lead going down lane between the Lee Enfields and the Vickers K. Yeah, 13 strength squad, commando trait, 6 available in A, 12 available in B at 1 vet, and can come in with the duck or the Bedford. Next we have Commando 6, and these guys are actually incredibly strong. 2 Thompson M1A1s, 9 M1 Garands, Bren, Lee Enfield. So it's kind of like an AB Para on steroids, in that they trade out their Lee Enfields for the semi-auto M1, which is a really nice trade because it allows them to put out much more DPS at range. So you get 8 of these in phase A, 12 in B, and 18 in C at 1 vet. 13 strength commando trait does make them more resilient at close range and makes them take less suppression overall. So yeah, pretty solid squad. And finally we have the commando leader. 5 Thompson M1A1s, 4 Lee Enfields, Lee Enfield Sniper, and a Piat. Yet 3 in phase A, 6 in B, and 9 in C. Probably one of the best leader squads in the game, honestly. The fact you get them at 2 vet and you get 3 in phase A is huge. They have commando trait. They have like the ability to chop down stuff at close range with 5 Thompsons and the Lee Enfields there, and then of course having a sniper to help at long range versus support weapons, and having an AT option. Like, this is a really, really nice leader to have about, to kind of fill in for the gaps that you might have. Although they shouldn't really have any gaps because you have infantry for every option here. All the different commandos having different loadouts pretty much. Really, really cool. Really like this infantry tab. Moving on to the tank tab, we have first of all the Royal Marine Sherman 2. 6 available in A at 1 vet. Classic Sherman with the 90 mils of frontal armour and a 75 mil gun. Has the 50 cal to 30 cals, fantastic infantry support, as well as good for taking out enemy medium armour and light armour, of course. We have the Sherman 5DD. 6 available in A with no veterancy. This actually has 100mm of frontal armour, so do bear that in mind because it's a Sherman 5. But otherwise the same 75mm gun and the 50 cal and 130 cal, because the other 30 cal is of course blocked by the amphibious wall around it. And we have the standard Sherman 5s coming in phase B and C, available 10 and 15. These again have the 100mm of frontal armour and the 75mm gun and the 230 cals this time because they don't have the duplex drive on it. And we have the Sherman 5 leader, which is the same as the Sherman 5, just with a radio and leadership, of course. 4 available in B at 1 veterancy. And finally we have the Firefly. 6 available in B with no veterancy, and 9 available in C. So your basic option really for dealing with heavy tanks so far. A 17 pounder of course on the Firefly with 170mm of penetration, 100mm of frontal armour. Gotta love a Firefly. Let's move on to the support tab. First of all we have the Commando 2-inch mortar. This does have a commando trait. It's exceptional stealth. 15 points, 6 available in A, 12 in B, 18 in C. You get the amphibious 4 GPA for them potentially. It'd probably be a waste to use it for these. Regardless, high micro needed to get effectiveness out of these. Then we have the 4 GPA supply trucks. They come in with 5,000 supply. You can get 4 of them in A, 8 of them in B, and 12 of them in C. You do actually match the amount you would get from a truck with these Jeeps. You can't actually get truck supply in this division, so this is your only supply. Commando Vickers HMGs are available, 5 in A, 10 in B, and 15 in C at 1 veterancy. You got 4 GPA Willys MB as your options for transports. It's a 4 strength Commando MG. The Commando trait at close range, probably not going to be too useful, but at long range it does obviously reduce the suppression they're taking, meaning they might win enemy MG wars easier. Wait and see. And then we have the Vickers HMG teams that are not commandos. Then we have the AVRE available in phase B and C. AVRE is always kind of fun to use, but it seriously lacks range on its spigot. And in the late game, it's difficult to get effectiveness out of these unless you're maybe working in a town. There are crocodiles available, also in B and C, so giving you some more heavy armor options, because you don't really have any like serious front armor in any of your other tanks, so these can tank things from a distance. They do get the 75mm gun, 150mm of frontal armor. At close range they can use the flamethrower, but it's extremely risky because it only has 160 m range. But yeah, 8 in B, 12 in C is actually a decent amount that you could potentially exploit in the mid to late game. Then we move on to commanders. We got our Commander, our Dingo, and the Sherman 5 available as commanders. Let's move on to the anti-tank tab, where we start with the Piat, available in B and C, 12 and 18 availability. You're almost never going to want to bring these in because generally they're going to be much better off used in the early game. Piats, like mid to late game, is not necessarily needed because a lot of your infantry will also have Piats. So yeah, Piat squads. Commando tank busters, they are a 4-man squad with 4 Thompsons, Piat, and a TNT. Maybe something you might want to try because they do have some close range capability, particularly with the Commando trait. It does allow them to stay alive at those close ranges a lot better. And because they are naturally 1 vet, the Piat's going to be a little bit more accurate, and that might just allow you to get the kills you want with them. Moving on, we have the Wolverine, 12 available in phase C. So potential to be your anti-armor late game, but you'd probably want to bring them in with higher veterancy so that you can increase the rate of fire and the accuracy to above 50%. That way these can trade actually pretty effectively for 65 points. Moving on, we do have a card of 17 pounders available in phase C as well. Definitely a more reliable late game AT option. 17 pounders are very nice with that 170mm of penetration at 2000 meters range. We have the Achilles, which also features a 17 pounder, but is actually available in phase A, B and C. So we get 2 in A, 4 in B, or 6 in C with no veterancy. And it does feature that 17 pounder, so actually a really good option potentially in the early game. So you're looking at maybe having Fireflies in phase B, you've got Achilles in phase A, and then like 17 pounders in C, for example, and then you have all of the phases covered versus heavier tanks. Moving on to the anti-air, we'll start off with the Polston. And Polston, 4 available in A, 8 available in B, and 12 available in C. Is a single 20mm that will struggle to be effective on its own, so you'll need to definitely have multiple of these on the field in order to make them effective. But probably not going to be an option you take too often. And we have the Tri-Polston, which is actually really effective if it can get on target, but has limited range. 4 available in B, 6 available in C. Then we have the Bofors as an option. 6 available in B, 9 available in C. Probably going to be the more natural option here, particularly up-vetted in order to make them more effective. They can be brought in with duck supply trucks, so you can use those to supplement if you don't want to rely on the Jeeps in the support tab. There's also the option to bring in the Bofors 40mm on a truck. It's actually a pretty good early game option because they come in at 1 vet, 2 in phase A, 4 in phase B, and as soon as these fire, make sure you move them because they are actually very prone to getting killed by artillery. Like artillery coming in and hitting these will be very effective, much more effective in fact than hitting your normal AA because they don't have much protection. There is also the Crusader AA Mark 1, which is also a Bofors but on an armoured hull, available in B and C, 4 and 6 availability. These are again still a little bit vulnerable to artillery because they have weak top armour, so do bear that in mind. Same as this Crusader AA Mark 2B, but this is a Tripolston on a tank, which is actually a really nice combination, as its mobility allows you to get it in range more frequently than the one on the ground, whereas the standard Bofors on the ground doesn't need to be moved too much because its overall range is higher than that of the Tripolston. Yeah, 4 available in B, 6 available in C. Finally, we have the 3.7-inch 94mm dual-purpose gun. This is a 94mm with 190mm of penetration in an AP round with 25% accuracy. So in a pinch, you can use it as AT, but you're not going to be hitting much. And then we have the HE, which is pretty strong, and of course, like the AA capability. Yeah, definitely just your big AA late game option for dealing with bombers mostly. Finally, actually second to last, we have the artillery tab. This artillery tab is very light indeed. First of all, we have the spotters, 2 Lanchesters with smoke grenades, available in A and B, 3 and 6 availability. Can be brought in with the universal carrier for GPA and Willies, but otherwise just your standard spotter type unit. Then we have the artillery commanders. Just a reminder that the artillery commander trait in this DLC will allow you to give radio to tube artillery. That does not include mortars or rocket artillery, but if your artillery leader is next to an artillery unit that is a tube artillery piece, it can give it radio if it doesn't already have it. It will also still provide radio at the front line if you use them on the front line, as well as its leadership. But next to artillery, it will also reduce dispersion of tube artillery as well by 20%, I believe. That is in the current build of this. It could change, of course. And this will be for everyone, not just people who bought the DLC. It's going to be a trait that's changed for everyone, so just bear that in mind. But yeah, 2, 4, and 6 availability of those. They can be brought in with the duck, but I wouldn't waste them in the ducks. Then we have the Commando Mortars, 3 available in A, 6 available in B, and 9 available in C. Actually going to be able to deal with counter battery a little bit better because of the Commando trait, meaning they're going to take less suppression. But otherwise, yeah, just your standard 81mm radio mortar. Nice and effective. Then we have the Centaurs. This is Centaur 4s. These can be used as both direct fire and indirect fire units. They have a really nice 95mm HE gun, which has 4.75 damage. And then they have a decent amount of armor as well, so 85mm of frontal armor. You get 3 in phase A, 6 in B, and 9 in C. A really nice option, very similar to the SU-76, but I would say they're actually potentially better than the SU-76 because the caliber of the gun's bigger. And off-map options. Here we go. 381mm naval off-map is available in phase B and C. 2 available in B, 3 available in C. You get, I believe, 2 strikes out of these, or it might even be 1 strike by the looks of things. It only says 16 shells there, and it doesn't say like ×2, but it might be 2 strikes. I'm not entirely sure. Probably is 2 strikes. Regardless, still get a lot of them. Finally, we have the Morris LRCOP 127mm. You're probably wondering why this costs more than the 380mm off map, and that's because it's rocket off map. So this is 127mm off map, very similar to the 132mm off map that the Soviets get. It's basically barge-fired rockets, and in this case, 960 of them, which is more than the 132mm option for the Soviets. Now the other thing that's kind of crazy about this off map is it's available in Phase A. So whenever you see this division on the enemy team, bear in mind that this is most likely going to be coming out in Phase A, and if not, just, you know, keep your eyes peeled for it, because it is extremely effective. Yeah, something definitely to look out for. Finally, the air tab. The air tab here, full of Wildcats, Hellcats, and Seafires. Starting off with the Wildcat. The Wildcat is a 500 km/h speed 450 cal armed aircraft. It is a relatively cheap fighter, 4 available in A, 6 in B, and 8 in C. You're probably going to want to up-bet them to make sure these 50 cals can actually get on target if you're going to use them. Then we have the Black Widow. This is the fighter variant, doesn't have any other payload, only the 20mm guns that are underneath here, the 420mm. Head on, it's going to do well. In a turn fight, it's going to do dreadful, so bear that in mind, but otherwise might be useful for intercepting enemy bombers and stuff. It does have 580 km/h speed, which isn't anything to be scoffed at. 4 available in B, 6 available in C. We have the Seafire Mark II. This is a recon aircraft that is very fast. It has 605 km/h speed. It has decent agility as well, but you've got to keep an eye on the ammo. If you want to use it to shoot down enemy aircraft, it will run out of ammo very fast. It can probably take down an enemy fighter, but then it will be out of ammunition. It might just take down an enemy bomber, but it depends really if it can be accurate enough or how close it is. Anyway, 2 available in A, 4 available in B, and 6 available in C. Then we have the actual fighter variant of the Seafire, which has much more ammo on its 20mm. 4 available in A, 6 available in B, and 8 available in C. The availability on these is pretty generous in Phase A, and so you can use them potentially for strafing, although they have bad resilience, so bear that in mind, which basically means they will get shot down much easier than more resilient fighters, like, for example, the Hellcat, which does have medium resilience. 4 available in A, 8 available in B, and 12 available in C. So again, generous availability on these. For an extra 10 points, you're going to get 50 cals instead of the 20mm and the 30 cals. But you got 6 50 cals, 580 km/h speed. You got a medium resilience. These are pretty meaty aircraft, very chunky as well. And we have the Spitfire Mark 14. This is the 5-prop version of the Spitfire, with the Griffin engine, I believe. And it goes 680 km/h, making it, I think, matched at the highest speed a fighter can go in this game. It does get the 2 20mm, 4 30 cals. It does have a decent enough armament. 6 available in B, 8 available in C. Probably going to want to up-bet them a little bit to make sure those guns get on target, because not only it does that, it gives them excellent agility, and yeah, these are going to go very fast, so you want to make sure they're accurate so they don't overshoot their target before they shoot it down. That's going to be pretty important. But otherwise, yeah, one of the best fighters in the game now, which is awesome. Like, for me, I love it, absolutely. As a Brit, it's great. All right, moving on, we have the Hellcat with bombs. So we've got the Hellcat bomb payloads now that we're going to be going through. We've got Hellcats with 113 kilogram bombs that go 550 km/h. You get 3 available in A, 6 available in B, and 9 available in C. There is a payload with 227 kilogram bombs, 2 available in A, 4 available in B, and 7 available in C. A little bit faster than the lower bomb variant. which is interesting. Then we have the rocket variant of the Hellcat. This is the HE rockets, the RP3s. You get 8 of those on the Hellcat, 2 available in A, 4 in B, and 6 in C. Decent ground attack aircraft. Then we have the big bombs for the Hellcat, the 454 kilogram bomb variant. It goes much slower, 510 kilometers per hour. 1 available in A, 2 available in B, and 4 available in C. Finally, we have the AT rocket variant, the RP3s once again, but this is the HE SAP variant with 8 of these on the wings, 2 available in A, 4 available in B, and 6 available in C. So an option where your 17-pounders potentially fail. And the defense tab. Show this off quickly. We do get 6-pounders in bunkers, we get Vickers in bunkers, and then your trenches, gun pits, barbed wire, etc. And that's your lot. Here's a deck that I made earlier. In Phase A, I've gone for 2 sets of commando snipers, extremely strong sniper squads, and then the field team 30 AUs in Phase B with those nice SMGs. We've got the Commando Assault in Phase A with the RM Commando 45. I've got Commando 3 in Phase A and Commando 6, so loads of commandos in the early game with commando leaders, which you get 3 of on a card, which is incredible. And then I have the Commando demos in Phase B with Commando 10, and in Phase C we're going with the AB Paras to hold the line from that point forwards. In the tank tab, we're going for both the Sherman 2s and the Sherman 5 DDs in Phase A at 2 vet, and then I've got Sherman 5s in B and Fireflies in C. In the support tab, we've got 1 card of supply in Phase A and B with the Commando Vickers to trade with enemy MGs and the Commando Leader on foot. We've got the anti-tank Commando Tank Busters. In Phase A, I've got the Achilles to act as my 17-pounder option, and in Phase C, we're going to go for some up-vetted 17-pounders to join the Fireflies against heavier armor late game. In the anti-air tab, I'm going to be going for the mobile Bofors 40 mils in both Phase A and B. I'm going to be joining them with the Crusader AA Mark IIB, which is the Tripolston variant, with the 3.7-inch following up the rear in Phase C. In the artillery tab, I'm going to be going for the Centaurs in Phase A and B with the Morris in Phase A, because that's the only time you can take it, and then the 381mm for late game off map if needed. In the air tab, it's going to be the Seafire and the Hellcat in Phase 8. Seafire can act as air-to-air against enemy fighters and stuff. The Hellcat can do the same once it's dropped its payload, but otherwise used for dealing with infantry and support weapons early on. Going to be bringing out the Black Widow because it's new and can be used as an interceptor and ground attack. I've also got the Spitfire Mark 14s, of course, and some Hellcats in B with AT rockets. The reason I've got the Hellcats in B with AT rockets is because I don't have much other options in Phase B for AT if the Achilles die, so these are kind of there to make up for that if needs be. But yeah, in the infantry tab, I've just brought all of the commandos. I wouldn't necessarily say this is optimal by any means. I think some of these commando units are not going to be as effective as they look, and therefore things will be definitely switched around a lot in this division eventually. But for now, there's a lot of cool new things to try. One of my favourite divisions of the new Men of Steel DLC for sure, and yeah, likely because it's British, of course. I gotta be biased. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick look at the first SSB. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.